Dr. Sharon Stills, one of your physician experts over here at Women's Health Network. Happy to be here with you as always, sharing some news and just checking in. Today I've got a real important topic. They're all important, but this one is super important because over 6 million Americans, and the majority, about 90% of them suffering from this condition, which is fibromyalgia, are actually women. And so there may be many of you watching who are dealing with this, or you may have a friend or a sister, a mother, an aunt, a cousin who's dealing with this. And so my goal today is just to bring a little light to fibromyalgia and then to give you some things to think about if it's something that you're dealing with that you could ask your physician about or start doing on your own and hopefully find some relief. I do have good results. I've seen many, many patients with fibromyalgia in my practice, so I've had good results. So these are time-tested tips, and I'm really excited to share them with you. So just briefly, fibromyalgia is known as diffuse muscle pain. Often there are different tender points that the doctor will check throughout the body. There's like 18 of them, and if you have the majority of them, then you can be diagnosed with fibromyalgia. It also is not just muscle pain. It can also be unrelenting fatigue, headaches, sleep disturbances, mood issues, depression, anxiety, memory issues, even GI distress can be an issue with fibromyalgia. So there's many different expressions and symptoms of fibromyalgia that you can be dealing with. And so let's just dive in. What are some of the things that I really want you to know about? The first one is something that I learned many, many years ago in medical school and served me very well and still serves me very well with patients, is that if you are dealing with fibromyalgia, you must have your thyroid gland checked. An underfunctioning thyroid can really contribute to the symptoms and the expression of fibromyalgia. And so remember, when you're having your thyroid checked, have it checked by a naturopathic physician or a functional medicine doctor who understands looking at the thyroid in its entirety. So no just having a TSH run. Important to have your free thyroid hormones, your free T3, your free T4, your antibodies, your thyroglobulin antibodies, and your peroxidase antibodies to make sure there's not an autoimmune issue going on against your thyroid. Even if your blood levels look well, they may not be well for you, so it's important to look at the range and see where you're falling on the range. And also to check your body temperature, because with a low thyroid, you will have a low body temperature. So, and then of course, remembering we don't treat the thyroid without treating the adrenal glands. So looking at the thyroid and the adrenal glands, number one on your list if you're dealing with fibromyalgia. Number two is going to be looking at your food sensitivities, because if you are eating foods that you're sensitive to, then you can easily be experiencing the symptoms that fibromyalgia will bring into your life. So we've spoken about this before, so just a quick reminder, either getting your doctor to do a food sensitivity test, not a food allergy test. The food allergy test is just your IgE levels, and that's the typical test that a doctor will run. And so that's not going to give us the information we want. We want you to do a food sensitivity test. There are specialized labs that run these tests, or to go on an elimination diet and take all the offending foods out of your diet for at least a month, see how your symptoms do. I bet they will improve, and then add them slowly back in one at a time to see if you have a reaction. So another really important one. Another thing you really need to look at is your stress levels. Stress can definitely be a contributing factor to fibromyalgia, so it's really important, if this is something you're dealing with, that you find ways to relieve stress in your life. We're not going to get rid of stress. We all have stress, myself included, so it's a matter of learning how to respond rather than react and getting the tools we need. So some of those tools can be getting regular massages, getting acupuncture, learning meditation, breathing techniques, journaling, going for a walk, getting in nature. So just finding the tools that work for you to help you release your stress. And speaking of massage, getting body work, since this is a real body issue where your body is achy, is really important. So whether it be lymphatic drainage massage or nice Swedish massage, getting acupuncture, getting chiropractic adjustments, but really addressing the physical structure of your body and helping it to feel better. Another thing you want to look at is, do you have any underlying viruses in your body? There's been a big correlation with viruses and fibromyalgia, so important to get that evaluated through blood work with your doctor, or even through bioresonance therapies that sometimes will pick up an underlying virus that the blood work won't pick up. Also important in your blood work, I already said to do the thyroid test, but to look at your growth hormone levels. I often find that growth hormone levels are lower than normal in women who are dealing with fibromyalgia. And continuing on that thought, look at your vitamin D levels, especially if you're really achy. Often you're on the couch a lot and you don't get outside as much. And so I see a lot of low vitamin D levels, and that can really contribute to the pain. So really important to get those vitamin D levels up and have that checked in your blood. Now, another really important one, like the thyroid, is your magnesium levels. Magnesium is one of the most common mineral deficiencies that we are dealing with these days in the general population. And magnesium being low can definitely contribute to the muscle aches and pains, as well as the fatigue and the anxiety and the other symptoms that you're experiencing. So best way to have your doctor test your magnesium is not just a typical serum magnesium, which is what a typical physician will do. You need to have your magnesium tested in the red blood cells. So the doctor would need to order an RBC, which stands for red blood cell magnesium, because magnesium is supposed to hang out inside the cell, and so that's where we want to measure the levels to make sure they're accurate. And if those levels are low, really important to replenish your magnesium. Now, in my clinic, I do a lot of IV magnesium pushes for my patients who are dealing with fibromyalgia, and that gives them miraculous, instantaneous relief often. If you have a doctor who does IV therapies, that's something I would highly recommend exploring, and if you need to take it orally, then you want to get a good magnesium with some glycinate and citrate, and you want to take it on an empty stomach, and you want to take it till bowel tolerance. So what does that mean? It means you start with a couple of 100 milligrams, and every day you're going to increase it. I recommend taking it at bedtime, and every day you're going to increase it by 100 milligrams until you end up with diarrhea. I know that's not like a fun thing to look forward to, but when you have diarrhea, that's how we know your body is saturated and you're replenishing your magnesium stores. So that's a good way to get the feedback from your body and know what your dose needs to be. Also taking D-ribose, which is a sugar that increases cellular energy synthesis inside the muscle cells, could be really helpful. Taking a good quality fish oil, which is going to help decrease the inflammation, and taking 5-HTP, which helps to increase serotonin. I have found that there's a decrease in serotonin in my patients who are dealing with fibromyalgia, and helping to balance that neurotransmitter can give great, great results. I also see that there's a nervous system issue. So I hope none of you were told this, but many of my patients were told, oh, fibromyalgia, that's not a real disease, that's in your head. And that's just such an unfair thing to say to someone, especially when you're suffering. And so I'm here to tell you that I know it's not in your head. It is a real condition, and often it's related to a nervous system sensitivity. So your central nervous system is stimulated improperly, and you're kind of more in fight or flight. And so doing things to increase parasympathetic tone, and we talked about some of those, like meditating, getting massage, can really help balance the nervous system and reduce the issues as well. So I know I talked about doing the elimination diet. Just a reminder, get rid of the gluten. That's a big offending factor. If you're eating artificial sweeteners, get rid of them immediately. They are, I consider them like poisonous, and they're also contributed. So I'd rather see you eating regular sugar than artificial sweeteners. And also caffeine. Caffeine can be a big one with the symptoms that you may be experiencing with fibromyalgia. So, and don't forget, caffeine's in chocolate as well. So be on the lookout for hidden sources of caffeine. So those are some of the things that I find really effective. Just a quick review: checking your thyroid gland, getting enough magnesium, looking in the blood work at those levels, also your vitamin D levels, your growth hormone levels. Oh, melatonin is another big one, because with the sleep issues, often women that I've seen in my practice who are dealing with fibromyalgia, I find when I test them that their melatonin is low, and I do melatonin testing through 24-hour urine tests. So that's another one that you should have looked at. So I hope that this variety of options offers you something that you didn't know about before, and you can get on it and find some relief from the fibromyalgia symptoms that you're dealing with. As always, it's a pleasure to share knowledge with you, be of service, and if you have any questions, we at Women's Health Network are here for you. So we'll see you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.